Line and paragraph spacing in MS Word. Please, if you have not subscribed to our channel, kindly subscribe to our channel and like our videos. Also comment on our videos. We'll be guided by this agenda: introduction, line spacing, and paragraph spacing. As you design your document and make formatting decisions, you will need to consider line and paragraph spacing. You can increase spacing to improve readability, while you can reduce it to fit more text on the page. Line spacing. Just look at this picture and observe the different line spacing that exists in between them. Now, line spacing is the space between each line in a paragraph. Word allows you to customize the line spacing to be either single spaced, which is one line high, double spaced, which is 2 lines high, or any other amount you want. But the default spacing in Word is 1.08 lines, which is slightly larger than single spaced. Now, in the image above, you can compare different types of line spacing from the left to the right. These images show default line spacing, single spacing, and double spacing. So the first one shows the default line spacing, which is 1.08 lines high. The middle one shows one single line spacing, which is 1 single line high. Then the third one shows double line spacing, which is 2 lines high. So the first one is the default line spacing in MS Word, which is 1.08. The second one is the single line spacing, which is 1 line high. The third one is the double line spacing, which is 2 lines high. So now let's look at how to format line spacing in MS Word. So look at this document. We'll select the body of text or the paragraph that we want to work on. So assuming I've selected this paragraph, the next thing is to go to the line and paragraph spacing toolbar. Now, on this paragraph group of tools, you will find the line and paragraph spacing command or tool at this point. When I click on the drop down arrow by the side, I would see a number of different line spacing listed there from 1 to 3, and after that I will see line spacing option. So if you want to format your line, what you do is to choose one of them that suits to the particular document you are working on. So if you want 1.0, which is single line spacing, you click on this. If you want double line spacing, you click on this. If you want 3 line spacing, you click on this. So I just want to pick, let me pick this 2.0, which is double line spacing. So that is how you go about that. So now you can also adjust the line spacing. Your line spacing option is not just limited to the ones that you see on this particular list. There are other line spacing that are not listed here, but you can access them by clicking on this option here, which is line spacing option. So when you click on it, it will bring out a window, which is the paragraph window. And this paragraph window helps you. If you look at this point, you will see spacing. It helps you and if you look at this point here, you will see line spacing. it gives you other options of line spacing that is not listed in that place previously. So when I click on it, you can see that we have single line, we have 1.5 lines, we have double lines, and then there are 3 others. We have at least, we have exactly, and we have multiple. Now let me explain each of these so that we can know why and how they are being used. So you see this exactly. When you choose this option, the line spacing is measured in points. So you can see if I click on it, at this point where you have the art, you will see PT, 12 PT. So it is measured what? In points. So you can choose to what? Either increase the point or reduce the point. While on this point, this preview pane here, you would see the adjustment that is made as you choose you increase or reduce what? The point. Like the way it will show on your document. So for this exactly, the factor there is that the spacing is not measured in lines, it's measured in what? In points. If you look at the other ones, they are measured in line, single, double, they are all measured in what? In lines. But when you come to exactly is measured in what? In points. Why we also have the at least. At least is similar to the exactly option. This lets you choose how many points of spacing you want. However, if you have different sizes of text on the same line, the spacing will expand to fit the larger text. So the larger size of text will determine what? The spacing, not the general text, the larger text. We will see how that works. Then we also have the multiple. Here on the multiple, you know that when you go back to this line and paragraph stuff, you see we have 1 through to 3. There are still others. You can still get 3.5 lines. You can still get 4 lines, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, and so on. How do you find that? You can get it under what? Under the multiple option of line spacing. So if I come here and I click here and I click on multiple, you can see that I can move on from 3, which it was the last value on the displayed lines in the previous drop down. I can move it to 3.5, I can move it to 4, I can move it to 4.5, I can move it to 5, depending on what you actually want, the number of spacing you actually want. So that is how you go about the use of this line spacing. So some are listed in points, while some are listed in lines. So depending on how you want to gain control over the look of your text, especially the spacing in between the lines. So now let's move on to paragraph spacing. Now, just as you can format spacing between lines in your document, you can also adjust spacing before and after paragraphs. This is useful for separating paragraphs, headings, and sub-headings. So let's see how that works. So now this is a paragraph. This is one paragraph. This is another paragraph. As you can see, in between the paragraph, there is a separation or an obvious spacing in between the paragraph. That spacing is what we call what? The paragraph spacing. We have 2 types that is pronounced, which is what? The before and the after. So the paragraph spacing before any paragraph is called before, while the paragraph spacing after any paragraph is called what? After. Normally, when you come over to your line and spacing option, when you click on the drop down, you will see both of them at the bottom. Add space before paragraph and remove space after paragraph. Now, take for instance, I select this paragraph. If I come here and I click on remove space, you will discover that space that makes the 2 paragraphs distinct, separate from each other, that space that makes the 2 paragraphs distinctively separated from each other, that space will immediately be removed, and it will look as if the paragraphs are blended together. You can see, but there's a paragraph between here and here, but you may not be able to tell where the paragraph exists because there is no paragraph spacing. But now, if I click on it and I click the drop down and I click on add space after, you will see that there's an obvious spacing between the paragraphs. So also you can have spacing after and spacing before. So let me remove this space after for this so that the two paragraphs will come together. Then I will come to this second paragraph and introduce spacing before. So if I click on this, you will see that it has introduced that same spacing in between what the two paragraphs. So that is how you go about what paragraph spacing. Now something I want you to also take note of is that in the paragraph spacing there are still other things, other ways you can introduce the paragraph spacing. Like take for instance, you are creating a new document from the scratch. You can set how you want the document to look all throughout your process of creating it. So how do you do that? You come to the design tab. When you click on it, when you click on that design tab, at this part here you will see paragraph spacing. When you click on it, there are a number of different paragraph spacing options that are there. You have the no paragraph space, that is, there will be no spacing between paragraph. You have the compact, you have the tight, you have the open, relax, and double. Even at the bottom you can even see customize, where you can even be the one to do the settings of how you want the paragraph to look in your document. So if you put the cursor at top of it, you will see the paragraph space before. If you choose the compact, the paragraph space before will be 0, the space after will be 4, while the line spacing will be 1. Now if you look at relax, the paragraph spacing before will be 0, the paragraph space after will be 6, while the line spacing will be 1.5. If you put it on double, the paragraph spacing before will be 0, paragraph spacing after will be 8, and line spacing will be 2. So depending on the one you want, you pick on it and then you keep formatting your document. So the last thing I want to say to us is that there is a possibility that after you are finished customizing the paragraph you want, you can click on save as what default on the window that is shown to you. And after you do that, anytime you want to continue working on a new document, that will become the automatic spacing both for line and paragraph that the document will be like. So let me show to us what I'm talking about. So if you come and you click on these let's go back to our line spacing. If you come here and you click on this and then you go to the line spacing option, at this bottom here you see save as default. So here you can do what? Set the paragraph spacing before and after. You can set the line spacing and set the point, and you click on save as default and click on OK. So anytime you continue to work on the document, that will be the default settings for any document you are working on. So thank you very much. Please, if you have not subscribed to our channel, kindly subscribe to our channel and like our videos. Also comment on our videos.